welcome to my wrestling show. This show proves one simple fact. That anyone who's born and has a camera can make a wrestling show. Like me. Actually, I've been watching pro wrestling for 20 odd years. Some of my earliest memories are watching wrestling with my grandfather and my uncle. That was back when Hulk Hogan reigned supreme. You know, he'd do this and he'd do this. And say, brother, me and Gene, brother, I'm here to... Yeah, we don't care. That was 20 years ago. And Hulk Hogan's still around. Yay. I mean, after all, the man's only 60 years old. He could still go at it in the ring. He can only barely move. Yeah. But I do like him as an on-air personality. He always would make a good one. He could talk. Now, what am I going to be talking about today? Well, first I suppose we can talk about the pay-per-view. WWF. What the fuck was that? Elimination Chamber? Something like that. There was a boring pay-per-view. I didn't watch it. I didn't care. Honestly, I didn't care. There were no good matches I wanted to see. I mean, let's see. We got the Elimination Chamber with John Cena in it. We all knew John Cena was going to win. Because he's freaking John Cena. He wins everything. You could put John Cena in a beard ring contest with Stone Cold and they'd have John Cena win. You could put John Cena in a legs contest with Stacy Keibler and they'd have John Cena win. You could put John Cena in a I'm going to jump off a plane with no parachute and they'd have John Cena win and live. Okay, John Cena wins everything. You know he's going to be headlining WrestleMania because he's freaking John Cena. He's like the Hulk Hogan of nowadays. Only, I'd say he could wrestle better, but he can't. And it's like he could talk, and so could Hogan. There's really no difference between Hogan except for Cena has hair. Cena has hair, that's the difference. Big difference. As for the SmackDown one, with a heel challenging for the title at WrestleMania, you knew it was going to have to go to a face. And there were only two faces in the match. That was Edge and Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio have fought several times before. And at WrestleMania, WWF likes to have two people who haven't fought before in the main event. And that would have been Edge and Alberto Del Rio. I don't like Alberto Del Rio. He's pretty much the Mexican JBL. Yes, I stole that from Spoonie. You got a fucking problem with that? He is. He's the Mexican JBL. He comes out in a fancy car. He's like, I'm Alberto Del Rio. It's like, okay, who cares? Then you had The Miz versus Lawler. Come on, did you really think they were going to put the title on a 60-year-old man? They're going to do that. Just bring Ric Flair back. At least he can go woo and drop an elbow on a jacket. What the hell was the other match? Oh yeah, the tag title match. WWF has what, 3 tag teams? I don't even care about tag titles. They have 3 tag teams. No true tag teams. And they only have like 3 tag teams, and the tag teams are made up of singles wrestlers who they don't have a place for on the card, so they put them in a tag team. I don't care who wins the tag titles. It's not like there's a big tag division right now. It's not like it was back with the Dudley Boys and Hardys and Edge and Christian and APA and them. No, it's not like it was even back in the 80s when we had the British Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation. And who else was in that? British Bulldogs, Hart Foundation, Quebecers. God, who did the Hart Foundation face at WrestleMania 3? I can't remember. I haven't watched that in so long it doesn't matter. So that's pretty much WWF's latest pay-per-view. So if I'm not talking about that, what am I talking about today? Well, I decided to talk about The Undertaker. Why am I talking about The Undertaker? Well, because one, he's going to return soon from his injury. Yes, he was actually injured. No, I can't recall what he was actually injured with, but it doesn't matter. The man is 45 years old. I'm surprised he doesn't pull something just getting in a ring. The man is 45 years old here. Okay? You go find me a 45-year-old. We'll throw him around the ring for 20 minutes and see if he doesn't get injured. So he's coming back. So let's talk about him. I watched this idiot called Muse. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. He did this whole long rant, kind of like I'm doing now, on The Undertaker. What he is, what he does, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I drink Coke while shooting. Why? Don't know. Because I'm a genius. And all geniuses drink Coke. That's why. So yeah, he did this whole rant on The Undertaker and how he didn't understand The Undertaker and blah, 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 blah. So here I'm going to explain to you The Undertaker. As most people know, and you probably know, 90% of the population knows. There might be one guy living in a rock somewhere in like Burma who doesn't know. Undertaker debuted in Survivor Series 1990. He was part of Ted DiBiase's stable, blah, 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 blah. Now, yes, he was originally called Kane the Undertaker. But Kane was spelled C-A-I-N, like Cain from the Bible. You know, Cain and Abel. If you don't know it, look it up in your Bible. They soon dropped the Kane and he just became The Undertaker. Why they didn't drop the and just call him Undertaker, I don't know. But he was The Undertaker, not Undertaker. As I said, he debuted Ted DiBiase's little group in Survivor Series. They won, blah, 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 blah. His original manager was actually Brother Love, who was a parody of televangelist preachers at the time. Red-faced, he always said he loved people and was very heelish. But he sold the managerial service to Paul Bearer, who is famous for managing The Undertaker. That's how we got the urn and blah, 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 that crap. Now, what is The Undertaker, you ask? Besides one of the few WWF characters who actually evolve. That's a hard thing to explain, but I'm going to try. The Undertaker is, when he first debuted, they called him the Dead Man. Like he was like an undead zombie type thing. I like to think of him more like a demonically possessed man. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter, because that's what I think, and that's all that really matters. Because you're not watching this show, well, you're probably not watching this show, so it doesn't really matter. That's what I like to think of him as. What is the urn? Well, the urn held his demonic power. What was in the urn, I don't think they ever really said. But held his demonic power. When Paul Bearer raised the urn, it gave The Undertaker life. And Paul Bearer said, "Let there be life," and there was life, and The Undertaker was good, and he won the title. Again, for the 150th time. Yay. As I said, Paul Bearer was his manager. Like I said, he was originally like this demonic type being. And they'd show him later on as he turned good. Because originally he was a bad guy, then he turned into a good guy. Feud with Yokozuna. And we have the infamous casket match between him and Yokozuna, where Yokozuna put him in the casket, and then the Undertaker floated up to the heavens saying stuff to give him time off because he was probably injured. He was young, but he wasn't that young. He was in his 30s. He was around 30 when he came to WWF, so that should tell you how old he is. Well, then he came back, and he feuded with Ted DiBiase, because he came back as a good guy. Faced Ted DiBiase's Undertaker, who was not Kevin Nash. That was not Kevin Nash. A lot of you say, oh, that was Kevin Nash. That was not Kevin Nash. Okay? I can look it up, see who it is. I don't feel like it. So fuck you. But it wasn't Kevin Nash. Anyways, he came back with the purple gloves. Why? Why purple? I don't know. Maybe he thought he was Prince. I don't know. So he stayed a face. Feud with guys like Ted DiBiase, Papa Shango, I believe he feuded with, in some of the worst matches I've ever seen. Horrible matches. Horrible, absolutely horrible. He eventually lost the urn. And so he supposedly lost his power, but then he gained his power back. And new urn came. I don't know how the new urns come. I don't know. Maybe he special orders them. They're mass produced. Well, we know urns are mass produced, but maybe Undertaker's got a factory somewhere that only produces his magical urns. Got some wizard stirring a pot somewhere, sprinkling powder in, going, oh, the power of the Undertaker will be in this urn. Oh, Ava Judah, Oda, Buddha, Yada Judah. I don't know. That's just a guess. Don't quote me on it. Though if you want to, you can. Because once I stayed before, I really don't care. As you can clearly see, there's no actual script here. It's just me rambling for 20 minutes. As I said, he lost the urn, he got the urn back. Paul Bearer turned on him to manage Mankind, because Paul Bearer said the Undertaker was evil and killed his parents. Undertaker denied this because he was supposed to be a good guy and blamed his brother. Paul Bearer said his brother was scarred and burned but alive. And so we got Kane. K-A-N-E. Not C-A-I-N like Undertaker was originally. K-A-N-E. His scarred brother, who wasn't actually scarred, and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole nother story that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I really don't want to get into it. But this is about The Undertaker, so I don't have to get into it. Well, Kane cost Undertaker the title. Undertaker was still kind of this dead man, demonic character type person. Though, with his parents, they did kind of give him a backstory, which was the first step in the evolution of the character. Making it so he was a man, he was just a man who was like demonic and evil. Kind of like Damien from that movie about Damien. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I've watched it, it's too good. He was kind of like Damien, he was kind of evil. Or like Macaulay Culkin's character in The Good Son, which is a horrible movie. Don't bother watching it. Just take my word for it. So that's where The Undertaker actually became a person instead of like a demonic being. But then The Undertaker turned into a bad guy, and he joined forces with Kane and Mankind and formed the Ministry and said, yes, I did burn my parents. I did burn the funeral home we lived at down. I killed my parents, blah, 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 blah. And then The Undertaker got injured and took some time off. He was getting interesting, but he got injured and decided to take some time off. Well, the WWF wanted to go more in a realistic measure, and Mark Calloway probably said, you know, we've come about as far as we can go with this Undertaker character. Which they hadn't, but we'll get into that later. And we got the Undertaker American Badass character, where he was a biker, he wore a headband, he was kind of this American badass. They kind of left the demonic thing behind. Wasn't a good character. Because people wanted the Undertaker, they didn't want Biker Taker, as he referred to as a nickname, Biker Taker. This character was about as close as they come to real life. Mark Calloway, who plays the Undertaker, who is big on bikes, classic cars, friend of Hulk Hogan's, so on and so forth. People didn't like this character. I don't blame them. It was a stupid character. He even, during this time, quit using the Tombstone Piledriver as finisher and used the power bomb known as the Last Ride. Not as good a finisher, not as epic. But Kane and Undertaker then started feuding with Mr. McMahon involved, of course. This was back when he had to be involved in everything on TV. What the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Undertaker. So yeah, Kane buried the Undertaker. And when the Undertaker came back, he came back with the Dead Man gimmick again. But this time, the Dead Man gimmick was a mixture between the biker and the Undertaker before he left for his injury in 1999, 2000 maybe. Probably, I think 1990, late 99, early 2000. When he left for that, and so it was him as a person. He was a person, not a demon again, but he had the demonic Undertaker powers to a point he didn't. And that's pretty much the modern Undertaker we have now. He is a person. They mention that he is a person, yet he's still kind of got this demonic link to him. It's an interesting character. It's one of the few characters they've allowed to evolve over the years. Really evolve and change and become this or become that. As I said, he was the demon. Then he got a backstory and became a human with like demonic intentions. And then he became a biker, which really doesn't fit into the story. It's like, let's just go all out and do something really weird and make him a biker. And he'd say, I'm a biker, woo! Okay. But then they kind of incorporated the bikerness into... Yes, I'm scratching myself on camera. You got a problem with that? But then they incorporated the biker into the Undertaker, which was actually interesting. He still used his powerbomb, but he used the Tombstone again as his finisher, but he still used the powerbomb known as the Last Ride. And it was actually quite interesting. That's pretty much the Undertaker we have now. Another thing you'll notice with the Undertaker, if you've watched wrestling for 20-some years like I have, or have way too much free time on your hands and watch wrestling on YouTube like I do, or have a camera and talk about it and claim you know something like I do too. Another thing you'll notice with the Undertaker is he's changed over the years. His fighting style has actually changed. It's not only evolved with characters, it's evolved with his age. When he first came in, he used a lot of power moves. He was supposed to be overwhelming with power. And as he's gotten older, he's downplayed the power moves and taken a more brawling style. This was really added in with the Biker Taker, also known as the American Badass Undertaker, was when he really started using the brawling moves. And now he does more brawling than he does power. Because he's, as I said, he's 45 years old. He can't be that powerful anymore. So he does a lot of brawling moves.